Can we get a hooray for Curve Day 1? That wasn't bad. That was like a 6, but I think we get like an 8. Ready? Like an 8 or 9. Ready? Hooray! All right, I'll take it. Okay, so over here to my left, Maura, can you please raise your hand? This is Maura Nelson. And please take pictures of this, connect with these lovely people, ask them questions. They'll be here afterwards as well. But here's a little bit about Maura. I'm going to go quick because we have lots to cover. Maura Nelson has over 20 years of experience designing and developing intimate apparel, including bras, swimwear, including bra size swim, shapewear, and related categories, and is considered an expert in full bust and full figure bra design, fit, and function. Emphasis has always been on innovation and highly technical design. She launched Brala Mode in 2011, and since then she has launched numerous intimate apparel brands from scratch and has transformed several legacy brands. She's managed everyday aspects of the process, from identifying the target consumer and brand DNA to determining market positioning and distribution channel to designing, developing, fitting, and sourcing the product from concept to sketch through final bulk production. Whew. Come on in, don't be shy. Thanks for joining. And Maura is deeply committed to diversity and inclusion. Hooray. She's a longtime drug policy reform advocate and is dedicated to racial and social justice. Can you please help me welcome Maura? Next up is Jen. Raise your hand. Jen Summers has been a bra fitter since 2007, and her experience in the lingerie industry has guided her into an incredible life fulfilled by engaging, encouraging, and empowering women to embrace their individual body through well-fitting lingerie. Hooray. At her shop, Story Essentials, she believes a personal bra fitting should ignite confidence, beauty, and power. Each day, she strives to provide a memorable and positive experience with each client. As a mom of a young daughter, she is super passionate about starting the conversation of educating youth on body confidence, yes, embracing who we are, yes, and changing the narrative and stigma of lingerie into one of incredibly empowering positivity. Can you please help me welcome Jen? We were just discussing how hot it is where she lives right now. How hot did you say it is in Arizona? 120 Fahrenheit, y'all. Excited, but a dry heat, right? Not like outside New York City yesterday. Okay, next up is Suzanne. Can you raise your hand? Hooray! Suzanne Alvarado is the owner of Sugar Cookies and brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the world of lingerie with an impressive background of over 20 years in the industry, working with renowned luxury brands. In 2008, she proudly opened the doors of Sugar Cookies in her vibrant neighborhood of Chelsea, New York City. Driven by a deep understanding of her clientele's desires, Suzanne has fostered a reputation for providing exceptional service and personalized attention. We'll talk a lot about that in a minute. With her keen eye for fashion and a commitment to creating a comfortable and welcoming environment, Sugar Cookies has become a go-to destination for those seeking luxury in New York City. Please welcome Suzanne. And finally, last but not least, and not even from our industry, how exciting, Stephanie Bordas, please let us know who you are, is the owner and photographer at Brooklyn Boudoir, New York City's premier photography studio for the modern woman. Formerly a television producer, Stephanie has commanded the camera professionally since 2015 and specializes in timeless, classy boudoir portraits, making it her life's work to advocate female individualism and self-love through her photography. Love. Stephanie believes, as Dita Von Teese put it, that it's not about seducing men, it's about embracing womanhood. Yes, welcome, Stephanie. So on theme for all the Barbie stuff happening right now, am I right? And I know you think that this was inspired by Oppenheimer, but it was actually by Barbie. Actually, really, I wear pink all the time, so like, who influenced who, you know? Like, who was first? Okay, and then a big thank you to our sponsor. So Gimsley has this lovely literature that you have here on your seats. Phenomenal, newer to us brand, but actually has been around for a long time. So I'll read about them, and they have a beautiful booth here, and our lovely head of design, Maura, is here representing them today. So I'm just going to scoot through some of these slides so you can see their beautiful product that Maura has designed while I read this. Family owned since 2007, Gimsley designs feminine, everyday intimates to help women feel beautiful from the foundations out. Their premium basics are elevated with all those special little touches that customers fall in love with. High-end trims, pedal soft fabrics, beautiful colors, and a flattering, comfortable fit. Gimsley's line includes panties, bras ranging from size 38 to 44I, y'all, slips, shapewear, period panties, and more. New this year is a breathtaking new bridal collection, as well as a high-performance perfect curves collection of bras and shaping items designed to lift, accentuate, and smooth all body types, including fuller figures. Stop by booth 211 to see for yourself why Jimsley's design have proven to be best sellers for decades. I'm excited for you to learn a little bit about the history of this company, actually, and we'll talk about that with Maura here. But I'm just really thankful that they were so excited to sponsor this, even though they're a more traditional company. And again, we'll talk about how do you do that as a traditional company. And you might notice in none of these pictures was there undergarments on a human body. So we'll talk about how do you get around that. Hello, if you're peeking in, come on in. We welcome you. Don't be shy. I will call you out. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So the first question is, what the heck even is marketing? The literal definition of marketing is the activity of business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. Boring. So here's what, by the way, I should also say that I went to school for musical theater, if you can't tell. And I remember once saying to somebody, like, I'll never have a boring job like marketing. And then I literally started a marketing and media company that I've had now for almost 10 years. So we're going to talk about how it is actually exciting. So this I have some quotes here from other people who, we just can't have 1,000 people up here. I wanted to bring in some other voices. So this is from Jem Antis, who's been in marketing for a very long time. He's the station manager at WJBR in Wilmington, Delaware. And he says his definition is showcasing your company as to why a target consumer should do or believe something about your company. And Shauna says, inspiring others to choose you, which I thought was a really great way to put that. Before I go on to our first question, Maura, did you want to add your definition for marketing real quick? And take the mic.
I'm a firm believer that marketing is literally every way in which you show up in the world.
Is your mic on?
Probably not.
Let's try.
Hello?
Yeah!
There we are. I believe that marketing is literally every way that you show up in the world. Everything.
That's it, yeah. How you show up. I love. That's a great definition. So this lovely picture here is of sugar cookies. So my first question is for Suzanne. Suzanne, your store no longer has a storefront. What? It doesn't even have a sign. So how has this gone as a tucked away appointment only boutique? And what is your best tip for getting people into the door?
So 2 years, we've been ground floor for 13 years, and then 2 years ago with the pandemic, we shifted to a fifth floor office space. As she said, there's no signs when you go downstairs or in the window. So we're kind of like a lingerie speakeasy. We also like to refer to ourselves as a salon, the French living room. A salon is where people gather and you educate. I was always known for that personal touch, so it just kind of made sense to shift to an appointment only. So where we've gained a lot of expertise and a lot of following is through that one-on-one appointment base. And also we get a lot of couples. We have a lot of people who maybe like during the pandemic, their body had shifted and they don't want to be on a ground floor. They don't want to be in a big store where everyone is going to look at them. So they really prefer that one-on-one personal touch. I will say since we've shifted to this appointment-based, we've noticed because we get so many couples wanting a special experience, our demographics has shifted to 65% women, 35% men. And I will tell you, once you get that male client in once, it's an easy sale.
And just to be clear, are these men shopping for a partner, for themselves?
A little bit of both.
Yep.
So we do get a lot of couples that come in and maybe they've gone to, we get a lot of tourists also. So tourists who are coming in and want something special, want something that they don't see in their typical lingerie store or department store. So basically when you come into our salon, it is a concept store. We don't have proper fitting rooms. We have like a French divider where you kind of could see the person's body a little bit. So there's like a little like voyeurism too if you want it to be. But so besides the couples, we've also found that we get a lot of men straight or not straight that are coming in and feel more comfortable with just having me or another salesperson dressing them. Yeah, there's no judgment. We have people who've transitioned again, there's absolutely no judgment. Do I think I want to go ground floor in New York City anytime soon? No, because I mean, this is what we've been true to since we started in 2008,
Yeah.
that personal touch.
Beautiful.
So in a strange way, shifting to this model has worked, but again, it just kind of made sense because this is what I was doing since day one in 2008.
And I know there's other people here who also have that sort of salon experience too, of appointment only. And that person added, she's here over here. She added, she can create her own schedule around it if it's
Yes.
appointment only.
I mean, so we are appointment only, but we do take in walk-ins because everyone would ask me questions. So what does that mean? If you don't have an appointment, is no one in the shop?
Right, fair.
I'm like, no, there's always someone in the shop during operating hours because we do get those walk-ins from time to time.
Love it.
What we've also found with the appointment-based too is that the person is doing their research before they come in. So they're looking on the website or, we're very personal, like we'll send them an email. What is the occasion? Are you celebrating? And we will gather things for them ahead of time. So we also find that the person coming in, making an appointment is spending a lot more than your traditional walk-in client.
Beautiful, which we like to hear. Hooray. Okay, moving on to another What is Marketing? Lee Paget of Busted. She says an invitation. A beautiful way to put that you're just inviting people. Another definition from Janine, who's worked in marketing for 10 years. She says, catching the eye and interest of potential customers, instilling a sense of need and improvement in the customer. This one here, we have this lovely bodysuit. So this next question is for Jen. Jen did something really special. So Jen, your store did a special collaboration with one of your favorite vendors when you teamed up with Only Hearts to create an exclusive style just for your shop. Can you tell us how that went?
Yes. So Only Hearts is a brand that is personal favorite, and we have such a loyal following at Story. Like, they're friends, they're clients, they support us to the end. So when the opportunity came about from Only Hearts to be like, let's make something that is Story, and it just naturally happened. We met with a designer and she just talked to me. She asked what I like, what are my client needs, and it was really important for me to be able to provide something for our entire range of clients, from extra, extra small to extra large. And so their fabrication, the delicious fabric, super stretchy, flattering on everyone, and a bodysuit is like the OG thing for our clients. Everyone looks great in it, everyone loves it. So we just kind of talked about what I loved, what sold well for clients, and just kind of fed off of each other. And so the Story birthday suit came to life. And I mean, it's like such an overwhelming, exciting thing. And we sold over 50% out immediately right that weekend. I mean, people were blowing up our website. As soon as we launched it, it was so huge and so just really special to have something with our label on it that meant so much to us and we could share with all of our favorite people.
I love that. 50%
really cool.
in your first weekend.
First weekend,
sold
out the door. Yeah.
to like your really top clients. But then I also remember when we talked about this, one really great tip that you had though is if you are going to venture into something like this is to keep it simple. You did one
Yes.
style, right? You're not doing a whole collection with someone. So like, let's just try it with one style. And that's good tip for marketing alternatives in general, right? Just start with one thing. Don't go crazy. Like really just start with one thing and see how it goes. And then I love how you aligned this with the birthday of the store, right? So it became
Correct.
like a really smart marketing move on your part was like, we already have this big thing, this big celebration happening. Oh, wow, we have this special thing that you can also participate in. So,
Yeah, we were
great
like,
way to
if we
do
can
it.
piggyback on this and make it work for everyone and just really own it and celebrate it, we did it.
Love it. Kimber has a lot of information for us in this presentation, so I'll try to get through all her stuff. She had such great service for us. So she says marketing is informing and building an audience. If you grow an audience funnel, aka a fan funnel, it can naturally turn into a sales funnel. That's exactly what happened for you, that these people really became like fans. Okay. Then my next question is for Maura. So you work closely with the team at Gemsley, obviously, and are familiar with their marketing towards their key market, which is the Orthodox Jewish community. That's been their key demographic for a long time. So they're both traditional and have some practices that are very uncommon for the lingerie industry. For example, as we shared before, images of bra products are not shown on models. So what has been something that works best for them?
So they are, branching into the mainstream market. You're all please welcome to come to the booth. But they started as the company started many years ago, catering specifically to that ultra orthodox community. And being super niche, they have loyal customers, brand ambassadors, people that know their name and are looking specifically for their product. One of the things that they do is old school newspaper advertising, right? They literally know the neighborhoods that they are looking to target, and they'll take out a full page ad in those, in those local papers. So I'm a believer in don't forget, like we're all show on the social media, right, train, right, as we should be, but don't forget some of those more traditional methods, especially if you are a boutique in a small town or in a small community. Know your community, get involved in your community, and speak directly to your niche customer. And I'm going to continue to reiterate this. Be super niche. Know who you're speaking to. Don't try to appeal to everybody, because then you appeal to nobody. And as humans, we want to feel special. We want to feel heard. We want to feel like you're speaking directly to me. We all know when you find that thing that you're like, oh my God, they get me, right? Like you should, then that customer is, they're hooked. They're in, right?
Yeah. And I want to add one more thing too, that when we were talking about this, Gemsly does not have a D2C marketing component.
No.
So when they advertise, it really supports the boutiques, yeah?
Yeah. So everything they do, they recognize the importance of brand awareness and making sure that the end consumer knows their name and knows who they are, because then they will go to those boutiques and ask for a Gemsly bra. So it's all in service to their boutiques. So having that relationship is really important, right, between the boutique and a brand, and fostering that.
I love that. Hooray. Come on in if you're sitting in the back.
And investing.
We got spots up here. Don't be shy. And
Right?
investing.
Don't
Go
be
for it.
afraid to invest, right? Or don't be afraid to invest. You've got to invest, period, right? Like this stuff doesn't happen by mistake, right? People are really intentional and go after it. And if you come to the Gemsly booth, you'll see to the extent to which the booth is every detail, right? There's Gemsly branded napkins that will be handed to you with your cup of coffee. And like we joke, but like that is,
it's important.
What did I say earlier? Marketing every way in which you show up in the world.
And they took a chance on this panel, right? Like that's another marketing move on their part of sponsoring something that's totally different than maybe their normal marketing. So they really are thinking outside the box, even though they're so traditional. I love it. Okay, so next up, this is from Jim. He says, marketing in today's world is extremely complex. Target consumers are always on the go, and it's the catch me when you can theory. That's why I recommend multiple marketing strategies and not just one. There are so many choices that you have to decide what is best for your brand and company. So here's this advice. I love this. Start with a simple marketing objective for your business. What do you want a specific target consumer to do or believe about your business or brand in a specific time frame? Once you know that, you can strategize your marketing solutions. I know this is actually quite traditional marketing. Really good advice. I was like, this is actually very sound. And then Shauna says, we host pop-ups in our store for permanent jewelry and even cupcakes. If the other business has an active following, it typically is a mutually beneficial event. Before we opened our brick and mortar, we also sponsored a women's brunch, and that helped with brand awareness and sales. And again, that brand awareness thing is really, really key. Go for it. Yes.
So the previous slide spoke about target consumer. And I just want to say that often we set out and we say, this is who we're going after. And yet there's somebody over here that's like begging for what we have. And so you really need to like listen because your consumer will tell you what they want or need from you or what they need you to be. Listen, right?
And I would say that's why it's also important, whether you have a staff of 2 or whether you have a staff of 100, spend time on your sales floor, spend time with the customer, because as she said, you're going to see what your customer needs. When it goes to marketing, social media is great, but I know that my core customer likes the old school phone call, emails, or texts. And when they come into the store, I'll ask them, how do you like to be communicate it? How do you like the follow-up? And they'll tell me. I have someone who handles my social media who's amazing, but a lot of people know, even with the social media, when they respond back, they're like, hey, Suzanne, do you have this? Because they want that personal one-on-one connection.
And we'll talk about creating boundaries so that you're not constantly bombarded with DMs in a minute as well, because that can get a little tricky.
Because sometimes you'll be at dinner at like 10 o'clock and they'll be DMing you, Suzanne, do you have this?
Do you have this in red and in my size? And you're like, I'm eating dinner. So we will get to that in a minute. Okay, next up is Stephanie. So you and Suzanne are teaming up on something very special. It's actually happening this week. You've already done mini shoots and collaborations in her shop, and now you're preparing for a boudoir retreat. I have also hosted a retreat that included boudoir shoots and coaching and all sorts of things. So this is a really fun and exciting thing. And it's right here in New York City this week. So tell us more about this collaboration, how it works, and really like a tip for best collab together. If somebody else wanted to do something like this.
Yeah, I think boudoir and lingerie are obviously a match made in heaven, right? It makes perfect sense that you would collaborate. It's a different industry, but your client is looking for the same thing. They're looking to feel beautiful, to look beautiful, and to capture that, right, and be appreciated. And so Suzanne and I started collaborating maybe 2 years ago, something like that. Always at the new location, although I had met her years before that. And we started doing these sort of mini shoots. And it was low commitment for me, and I think low commitment for her. The idea was I would be at her shop with my camera, and when someone came in to buy something, I'd snap some photos of them, and they'd get one complimentary photo, and then they could purchase additionals if they wanted to on the back end with me. And so the idea is some of my clients could come in and shop Suzanne's store. They'd feel amazing. They'd have something new for their future boudoir shoot. Her clients would come in and maybe meet me. Maybe they needed to see somebody face to face in order for me to make that connection and make that sale. And so we tried it a few times. We tried a brunch for Mother's Day. We had a lower, again, it all goes back to knowing your client, right? A Thursday night worked a lot better for us and our clientele than a Saturday morning did. But I think that's just something you have to try and see what happens. This next event now, we're sort of taking it to the next level. So up until now, these events have been free for customers to attend. Now we're having one where customers do buy in. They're getting all the same things. They're getting a longer boudoir shoot with me in a fabulous location. We're not going to be in the store this time. They're getting to shop privately with Suzanne, which they always love. And then we're adding a few more touch points. We're taking them out to a burlesque show and a fancy dinner. We're doing a little talk at her shop where they can kind of pre-select anything they might want to try on at their private appointments and also get to know us. We're going to do some pose coaching, some confidence coaching, get to know each other, right? And it's the first time we're doing it. It's kind of low maintenance, even still. Yeah. Our out of pocket is relatively low. And we're going to see how it goes with the idea of maybe expanding this to other cities around the world. Who knows where it could go from here?
And there's an obvious crossover of the lingerie piece, right? But also both of those things have that vulnerability piece, right? Like undressing in front of somebody and or being photographed in almost nothing both have vulnerability. So you can add something for sure. Yes. And I just want to say too, when we were talking about this, you also had to say you have to be aligned as people. So like that tip for collaborating, just quickly, what's that key?
I think the number one thing, obviously, you want to make sure your customer is the same type of person, both in terms of what they might want to spend and in terms of their style. Obviously, if you're selling cozy, comfortable lingerie, you're not going to look for a glam or, more pin-up-y style photographer. Right. But I also think it's really important that you have a good relationship with the person you're collaborating with, because even if you get no financial gain, right? Maybe you try something and it doesn't work. At least, I feel good about referring clients to Suzanne. I know they're going to get an amazing experience, hopefully likewise. Yeah. And we enjoy working together. So, it's never a loss, even if the financial idea doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah. Did you want to add something quickly?
And I would say we've done 4 in-store boudoir events. We call them the Bubbles and Boudoir events. And what's been great is, it was a semi-private mini session, but what we find with each event is there's a diverse group of women, and after their mini shoot, they could leave, but they wouldn't leave. Yeah. They would stay in their lingerie cheering each other on. Yeah. And we've had women of like all ages, 18 to 60s, size extra small to plus size. We had our last one was a woman who had just turned 50. She never wore a thong in her life. Well, we got her in a thong and a bustier and couldn't get her out of it.
Yes. Hooray.
And so much, she enjoyed the experience so much, she was a stylist that we did another event with her, which was Fab Over 40.
Love it. That's a great point of like listening to your customer list. Okay, this worked. It was exciting for her. Let's try something
Yes.
else. So it's just like try one thing, pivot, try again, pivot, try again, pivot. So perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, next, take a picture of this because this is solid advice from Kimber. This is if you're going to do partnerships. She's like, get to know the partner's audience. Clearly identify, should be identified identity, where there is an overlap so you know who to target. Then get to know their goals and challenges and share yours. Brainstorm on one engagement to help you both solve one of your, or each of your problems. Then set specific goals. This is so key, that are measurable and agree on how you'll determine if it's successful or not. Make sure you have a way of clearly tracking who sources leads, which leads buy from each partner, and follow up sales, and then build on what works. Exactly what I just said. Feel okay leaving behind what doesn't. These are just great tips in general. Come on in if you want to. There's more seats down here. Don't be shy. People like leaving now because I said that. Great. You can come on in. Don't be shy. Okay. Yeah, come on down. So, what is the best method of bringing new clients into your store, and what about returning clients? I'm going to share a quick example here. Lee, another great suggestion, says making people happy with the experience. We talked about that. The customer service is the number one way. So, I'm just going to go down the line really quickly here. And in one word, we can start with right here with Stephanie. In one word or a very short sentence, what would you say is the number one thing that brings in new clients or sales?
I get new inquiries always via Google SEO. My company's called Brooklyn Boudoir. It's an easy SEO, but then it's my personal touch and follow-up that books the clients and gets them to come in.
Beautiful. Next.
And I will say the same with Stephanie, and we have a website which draws people into the store. It's kind of like the visual catalog, but at the end of the day, it's all about that customer personal experience and the referrals. You give them a great experience, they're going to tell all of their friends.
Beautiful. Next.
Be super niche, as I said before. Everyone wants to feel special. Everyone wants to feel heard. Be really particular in communicating to whoever your target consumer is.
Next.
Providing an experience that makes them feel like they are the only person that matters in that moment, and they feel so special and so unique that they share with all of their friends, and everyone wants to experience it.
Exactly. I will add to this too, and I will say relationships. Relationships is the number one way I, business to business or business to consumer, actually get my clients. And I mean, I've had conversations about bras on the plane and literally didn't have a business card with me. And she went, "Girl, you don't have a business card?" And I was like, "I know, what's wrong with me?" So like building those relationships and then being like, you know what? Let's just connect on Instagram and chat with each other. And then that person then becomes a brand ambassador, has told 5 new people. I met this amazing woman in a pink dress on the plane. She was great. Just had that really beautiful relationship. But even here with each other, like build those relationships, support each other so that if somebody is like, you know, I don't have a store in Michigan, but you do. I just met this great store owner who does. Let me refer you to them. Really important to have great relationships. I'm going to leave this one up because there's this really handsome guy in it. Happens to be my husband. My husband, Trent, is an account exec at Beasley Media, and he says, it sounds simple, but be genuine, be honest, legitimately care about helping your potential client. I could leave that one up all day. Okay, then Kimber has some great advice again. The first step to any sale is awareness, but not about you. This is where I think we get mixed up in what we're marketing here. I have a personal brand. It's easy to think that the entire brand is about me. It's actually not. The awareness is of the problem that exists and awareness of the possible solutions, including evidence of why it works, why it's important, who it's worked for. If people become aware and then become well-informed because of you, you earn their trust. They will keep coming back to you and even market for you, just as we said, by passing along what you have to share. That's why I love education so much. So all the educating that we do, all of the like, did you even know that your bra could feel comfortable? Wow. Did you even know that a size K exists? Like really helping them understand, like, I see that you're uncomfortable every day. Let me support you. That's really key. Okay. Sugar cookies again. Back to Suzanne. So you have, as we said, a high touch, one-on-one approach to your clientele, and that doesn't stop when things get virtual. So we discussed that you have these virtual trunk shows that started in the pandemic and have since continued. Can you tell us how you work with those and how you keep them personal?
So again, kind of like what Maura said, stay true to yourself and what your niche is. My niche has always been that one-on-one. So during the pandemic, we did the virtual trunk shows where we're like, do we want to do it Instagram Live? And we reached out to our customers and they were like, no, we want the one-on-one. So it has been time consuming, but that's what the customers want. They want to feel special. You know, having that virtual trunk show, they're going to book out the personal time, just an hour with me and them or with one of my associates and them. Again, because every store is different. I'm not saying just to try this. This is what works for us because that's what they're accustomed to. So we're not going to try and change our customers. We know where our loyal customer base is.
And when we were talking about this, I actually was like, oh, are you going to do like a live stream? And she's like, I guess maybe we should. And then when she explained the process, I was like, nope, absolutely. You already know your customer. Stay doing that. She's doing exactly what she needs to do. Okay, next. Kimber again. What doesn't work anymore is fear-mongering, mudslinging, or pressure-based sales. The things that I've had work for the best for me that others often shy away from is being honest about what your company can't do. I thought this was so smart. And being willing to point them towards a company that can. It builds strong partnerships and continues to build trust. You can't help them, but they'll remember you next time when they have a problem to solve. Become their trusted resource, and marketing becomes fun and collaborative.
Can I just
go,
speak to that too? And speaking to that too, and I think the customers value that, because sometimes in New York City, there's not a lot of stores left in New York City after the pandemic. There's a few of us that survived, so we're strong. But again, my store is definitely more on the seductive, sensual side. We carry basics, but our basics are not on the sales floor. They're hidden in the drawers. We try to help every customer that comes in the door, but sometimes, we might not have something that a customer needs, and we might not be able to get it to them right there and then. So with that being said, if I have a customer, let's say, who's an M or a K and needs something, I'm going to refer them, there's Danny in Town Shop, or you're in Brooklyn, go to Iris in Brooklyn. You're a really cool girl, and go to Azaleas, on the east side. So I think what's really good about the industry, and I could speak to it now, the few of us that have survived and are very seasoned, we're all about helping each other out and empowering each other. Because that's how you survive.
Yes.
Be true to yourself, be genuine, and your customers will come to you. And the customer who I wasn't able to sell to but went to Town Shop for something, they value that honesty.
100%.
And they will come back when they're looking for something that we had.
Yeah. And it's, again, people want to be served, not sold to. So you're really providing a service in general when you're doing a bra fitting or lingerie sales. So I think that's really, really smart. And that collaboration over competition is key. So good.
Okay. So you could take me out to lunch if you hear this, okay?
And that's part of going down to being niche too. Like, you're not going to have everything for everybody. And so, instead of trying to make it work with what you have, be open to sending people to another place. Okay, next up is 70. So it's so important for us to learn from others, including industries outside of our own. So as a fellow service provider who's not in an intimates industry, I'm just curious, what's a trend that you're seeing in photography for marketing?
So I think the number one way that anyone in a service industry is getting new clients and keeping their clients is referrals and word of mouth, repeat customers, planting the seed to the friends, right? Also booking their friends as long as them. But some trends that I've seen recently, I haven't tried necessarily all of these. A lot of people are doing brand ambassadors. I've heard that phrase tossed around, where they've got somebody who, for whatever benefit, to the client, will showcase all their work. It's kind of like on a micro influencer kind of level. People are doing private Facebook groups where, you have to be in this Facebook group, and that gives people kind of the freedom to post their boudoir photos or post, hey, I just bought this new piece at Sugar Cookies, check it out. Or look at me wearing my new piece from Sugar Cookies, or whatever, kind of a private stage for them which is less public than all social media, with this one specific group. Yeah.
I'm going to add to that too. So when I was living in Oklahoma for 3 very strange years of my life, I love Oklahoma, but it was not for me. But it was so different than being in New York City, where everybody had that storefront and also had like a web presence and social media, and had this whole big business. Whereas in Oklahoma, almost nobody even had a website. I was like, how do I find you? It was definitely referrals, and then it was VIP Facebook groups. Everybody in that town, if you wanted to know what the new thing was in that store, which there were so many beautiful little women-owned boutiques in our tiny town, you had to be in that Facebook group. I'm still in those groups now that I've moved, and I'm not kidding. Somebody posted something the other day about new hats, and I was like, I love this one, I want it, and they'll ship it. But also, I would see on the comments something like, okay, save that for me in the size small, I'll be by, Thursday, put it behind the counter for me. And that really personal clienteling in these small niche areas is a really great way to do that. But also, it's with something so intimate. If somebody's like, oh my gosh, I have to share with everybody here, I just got this beautiful pink bra from Sugar Cookies, and look at me in it, they'll share it there and not maybe necessarily out on their social media in front of everybody, but they're still then marketing to your current clients again. So it's a really smart way to do it. Really smart. Anything else you wanted to add before I move on?
You don't need a lot of people in that Facebook group.
There we go.
Right? It could be a small group, and they're going to sell to all of their friends, and they'll do it for you. And it doesn't have to be a lot.
Love. Okay, back to Jim. As a marketing executive for many years, I've developed some really great campaigns. This is from a totally different industry. I just want you to think here outside the box and just see what you could imagine here together, okay? So one of the best ideas was for a company called Collision Max. They needed to be branded differently from all the other collision companies, so we took a dilapidated 1960s style VW microbus and completely rebuilt it. After it was rebuilt, we showcased it at the Philadelphia Auto Show, where millions of people saw it and learned about Collision Max, and it was a home run. Totally different than anything else maybe they would ever have done before. Another example from this handsome guy is that he said we have several of these, and I love this one. I actually asked him, please share this with us, because I thought it was so neat. We're like marketing nerds around the dinner table now, by the way. It's very strange. But one we recently partnered with was the Wilmington Riverfront in Delaware. We gave away Taylor Swift tickets. Now, that's a big thing, right? It's a big thing. They got a big ticket item that everybody wanted. And then they, to callers from our radio show, whoever could correctly identify the contents of a large shipping container suspended above the riverfront. I'll show you a picture of this in a minute. It contains something related to Taylor. Daily callers got a chance to ask one yes or no question, and then they got one guess. If you went in and took a selfie with a shipping container, you could earn an extra clue. It really increased traffic to the riverfront, and our sponsors got to have their branding all over the container. This is totally outside of the box, even though it was a literal box. This is a totally unique way to do something. They're like, let's just give it a shot. Let's see. And people were taking selfies all the time. All the Swifties came up and were like, yes, I want free tickets to Taylor Swift. Took tons of pictures, and their branding is right there, down there underneath. But also, they got that foot traffic to that area that was kind of not getting as much foot traffic. So something big and crazy and kooky like that could work even on a smaller scale as well. Yes.
What was in it?
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to ask that. And I almost texted him this morning to be like, can you confirm? But I think I just remembered. It had something to do with pretzels. She's from Pennsylvania. So it was something to do with some pretzels in a specific area in Pennsylvania that what?
Lidditz, probably.
Sure. Those. Some pretzel. But it was fun. It was a fun way to do it. Okay, Kimber, I deal with managers constantly who don't want to take risks and who refuse to bring personality into the marketing. It's so boring. So Maura, this one is for you. So some of the top design clients that you work for, like Gemsley, they tend to be more traditional or conservative, but there is an element of risk when it comes to marketing. And we've talked about this already in this panel, so we're just going to hit a home run here. So can you just shine a light on that for us? What elements of risk are really important or necessary in order to be successful?
So number one, I want to say that just about every bit of advice or marketing that we've discussed today is fairly traditional. We've talked about referrals, right? We've talked about word of mouth. So all of this, go back to basics. We're not reinventing the wheel. We have this, new forms of media today, but the same old things that always worked continue to work. One-on-one touch, customer service, make people feel special, right? That is traditional as far as I'm concerned. So the one thing, right, back to the question in terms of taking risk, everything's a risk, right? In everything that we do. There's never a guarantee, but there are calculated risks, right? We do our homework, we do our research, and that goes back to if you know your customer and you've done the branding well, right? You know your product, you know your customer, you know who you're speaking to, you've done the homework so you know what she wants from you, then it's less of a risk, but you really have to just try. And you have to spend some money, guys. You have to. And you have to give it time. You can't say, I'm just going to put a few dollars on a Facebook ad and see if it works, right? Like, it's not going to work. I can tell you that right now.
It's not a scratch off.
Right, right. Yeah. Like, that's not going to work. You need to invest. You need at least a 6-month strategy or a plan. And that's particular, right, in new forms of media and whatnot. But like, for example, back to the newspaper ads. We'll never have a clue how many people saw that newspaper ad and showed up at the store, but we continue to do it because we know that it works, right? So you could say there's risk in that. Yeah, there's risk in everything. You've got to just do it, guys. Please don't be afraid to go ahead and try new things. And sometimes it is just in service of learning something new, seeing if something worked or didn't, or eliminating, cross that off the list.
And I'll add to that too, like one of the things that I think gets in the way of trying new things or taking a risk is that idea of either we're going to look like a failure, like our reputation might be tarnished, or we're going to like lose a lot of money on this, or maybe that it's just not going to be perfect and we're going to look bad. So letting go of the perfectionism and truly trusting that if you are showing up as yourself and in a way that's really consistent with your brand, you're not going to lose face. You might lose a little money or you might lose a little bit of your time or energy, but most likely you won't actually lose any face. I think it's actually really important to take
authenticity, right? You keep
be yourself.
talking about that. Be yourself and
Absolutely.
be true to who you are and speak to your customer
And
directly.
about the ROI that you were saying too, there like more traditional forms of marketing, it's really hard to prove ROI. My husband works in radio marketing mostly, so he's there trying to convince people all the time, like, listen, this actually does work. I don't have a click-through rate or a graph to show you this right now, but we can show you ways that this has worked. Even if you ask customers, I'm sure you do this, like, how'd you hear about us? And they're like, like no one remembers, but they subconsciously have probably heard either the company or a friend said it, and then they heard it on the radio and they saw it in the newspaper and they saw your social media, they saw that Facebook ad, they've seen it many times, and then just subconsciously they're like, I need browse, I gotta go into that store. So so don't be afraid if the ROI isn't extremely obvious to just give it a shot. It's really important. Okay, next is a question for Jen, but I'm going to read this beautiful quote from Solange Knowles first. So, when you take care of yourself, you're a better person for others. When you feel good about yourself, you treat others better. So, I just want to bring up what we're talking about. This is a lot of high-touch suggestions up here, and that can get a little blurry in the boundaries when you're serving people. So, Jen and I had a really great conversation about this, and when we spoke about marketing techniques, you actually mentioned something so critical and overlooked, which is self-care. So your tip was to avoid burnout and to put good energy out in order to bring people in and to treat yourself like your most important client. Can you just tell us more about
Yes. I mean, it's such a simple thing to do, but probably one of the hardest things we can do is put ourselves first. But in order to be present for everyone that comes into the store, they come and they want that experience and they want everything we can give them. But if we don't set hard boundaries and really create space to fill our cup first and make sure we are our best version of ourselves, we can't give that to the customers. Right. So taking the time to really figure out, what do we need personally? What do I need with my family life? What do I need with the business? And setting those boundaries and being able to communicate that with everyone so that they understand and they respect it, you're then able to come at 110% every day and then end the day and feel really good about what you did for other people, which in turn makes you feel really good. So it's a beautiful thing.
I love it. Go for it.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that, I'm a workaholic and I could work all the time. Before, I didn't even want to take vacations. I'm like, I got to work. I got to be at the store because if I'm not at the store, who's going to take care of this person? Who's going to take care of that person?
Sound familiar, anybody? Yeah.
But what I've noticed is once you do take time off, and I will tell my customers coming, well, I'm going to be away, I'm going to be at the LA trade show, or I'm going to go to the Paris trade show, they're excited for you. And then I'm like, oh, and then I'm going to take a few days off. Then the next time they come in, they're like, how was the show? How was your vacation? They want to hear all about it. And then some people literally will just want to work with me. But then others, I'll say, well, you know what? Or even with Stephanie, we found, because she will refer people to me, and when they book an appointment, they were like, oh, well, I want to work with Suzanne. And then I will tell them, well, you know what? I have Monica's in the store. She's worked with me for years. Trust me, she's amazing. You're going to be in good hands. Because in my absence, I need to make sure whoever's going to be in the store is going to give the same level of service as I would.
100%. Yes. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And if you want to train anybody in your store, I have something coming out soon. We have some founding fitters in the fitters formula. So if you want to train your staff, let me know. Okay, now we're going to do a quick down the line. We'll start over here with Jen, so if you pass that to her, and then we'll start back here with Stephanie for the second one. We're going to do two quick ones and then some Q&A and shares. Okay, so the first question is, in one word or sentence, what is some out-of-the-box marketing thing or just some marketing technique that you've been thinking of trying, haven't done yet? Like, what is that?
We are actually trying it right now. We are going to do a 30-look runway show at Scottsdale Fashion Week. It is completely out of our comfort zone, but we're going all in. We're gonna do it.
Hooray.
I'll keep you posted. I don't know.
Great. That sounds like a great idea. Go for it. What's yours?
Oh, my dream marketing thing is a flash mob in Grand Central Station.
Love it. Yeah. Next.
Why not?
Mine would be, and again, it's out of my comfort zone, to do something in media, or whether it's television or radio, because that's just not me. I like more the face-to-face, the one-on-one. I don't like big crowds. So when Kamei asked me to be on this panel today, I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can do
You're doing great, babe. You're doing great.
So that would be what I would say.
Inspired by this convention, I was just thinking maybe doing some kind of capsule collection where we could put together a seasonal, 3-piece collection or something, and my clients could, get that really easily from Suzanne or whomever, and
Book and Boudoir / Sugar Cookies.
Exactly.
We love it. I'm going to go through very quickly a couple of examples here. So Shauna from Linger, she actually is starting a podcast, and it's not specifically about lingerie. It's about like sex and bodies and things in general. That's a very big crossover, so she can serve her community and then hopefully also advertise to them at the same time. So she just launched this, and she did it in conjunction with her 40th birthday. So again, in conjunction with something she was already celebrating and getting people involved and letting people know. And then she has an invitation like, hey, do you know someone wants to share their story? Let them come on the show. So she's also even maybe featuring her clients. Larissa, who couldn't be here today, her flight got canceled, but Larissa, during the pandemic, did a really great collaboration and promotion to support her local community of frontline workers. But you could sponsor a sleepwear set. And so she made sales and then also supported her community, which was really smart. This is really long, so I'm not going to read it. I know. So then Reinas, which is in Spain, they're a wonderful group. They do a calendar every year, and it's of their clients. They have their own customers do a calendar every single year, and then they did a fashion show with it for fun. And they really highlight like the trans community or for breast cancer, and the proceeds, it's like €6 for the calendar, but the proceeds go to a breast cancer foundation. They don't make a ton of money on this. This is a marketing move. And the whole reason they do this is because they hand it out to everybody at the store. They can purchase it and goes to their donations. But they also then pitched all the local TV shows about this really cool thing that they're doing in their community. They're in every newspaper. They're in every local TV station. Everyone knows about it now. Super, super smart. And a really beautiful job that they do. And then over here, Lee, great example. She says, we try all kinds of unique marketing. Wrapping her van, I have a picture of that. Having her hair the same color as the brand, smart. Inviting artists for collaborations, which I'll show you in a second. Having bra parties, spa days at private clubs. Boxing events for the military academies, which you would never think that could cross over, but it absolutely can. And then they've had a podcast called Bras, Bitches, and Balls, love. We also have dressed local and national artists, and those people then become, again, their brand ambassadors. So here's a good example of her actual marketing and branding mixed together here that she drives around. She also literally today handed me a keychain of her shop. So like smart marketing all of the time. Okay, final down the line question here. In one word or sentence, what is a final piece of advice or encouragement you have for everybody here? Beautiful deep breath. Thank you.
I mean,
That's the advice. Take a deep breath.
yeah, right. I think just remembering that marketing isn't every single time going to lead to a financial gain, but there's always some kind of gain, whether it's relationships or just future financial gains. It's never a loss.
Smart.
And I think we've said this before, just being true to yourself, being genuine, keep going. Don't be afraid to try things, because even if it doesn't work out the way you want it to be, it will be a learning lesson for the next time you do something. Like our retreat this weekend coming up.
See how it goes. I think it's going to be amazing.
Just go for it and know that you're way more powerful than you think you are. You're smarter than you think you are. All of those things. Just do it.
Hooray. Next.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just stay true to your brand, stay true to yourself, and acknowledge every small bit of growth, because they do make improvements and they make big impacts.
Beautiful. Can we give a round of applause for our lovely panelists, please? Such smart women in business. Absolutely proud of them.